Sera had been in the cell for 11 days when she stopped counting. The numbers didn't matter anymore. Execution was execution, whether it came on day 12 or day 20. She'd stopped accepting anything. Acceptance implied peace, and Sera Ashford had never been peaceful a day in her life. The cell was 6 paces wide, every crack in the stone memorized, every rust stain mapped. At night, the other prisoners prayed, sobbed, sometimes screamed when the dreams got bad. Sera never screamed. The hunters who'd caught her mother taught her the lesson at 9. Screaming just made them enjoy it more. Ashford! The guard's voice sliced through her half-sleep. Visitor. Visitors were rare. Most families wanted to forget, not remember. The woman who appeared wasn't family. Ancient, skin like parchment stretched over bird bones, eyes clouded with cataracts. But she moved with purpose, dismissing the guard with a gesture that suggested decades of being obeyed. Sera Ashford. The woman's accent was unplaceable. 22 years old. Survived the Whitehaven Purge at 6. Lost your mother to a hunting party at 9. Captured by slavers at 14. Killed 3 men escaping. Arrested last month for using forbidden magic to heal a child dying of fever. If you're here to catalog my sins, I'm here because you're going to die in 3 days. Wanted to see if you were worth saving. Sera laughed, bitter. Nobody's saving anyone. I've got the mark. The law's clear. The old woman moved closer to the bars. Something about her posture shifted, protective. Show me. Sera pulled down her prison shift collar. The mark sprawled across her left collarbone. 7 stars connected by silver lines that seemed to move if you watched them long enough. Beautiful. Damning. The old woman studied it like a physician examining a wound. Then she pulled back her own collar. There. Faint, almost hidden by age-spotted skin. 3 stars. Different constellation, but unmistakable. Sera's breath caught. You're marked, yes. Been hiding for 63 years. Since before the laws. Since before everything. Morrigan's voice dropped. I serve the Scarlet Throne because the Hollow King doesn't hunt what he keeps close. Safest place for someone like me. You're using him. He's using me. I'm using him. We have an understanding. She studied Sera's mark again. Yours is stronger than mine ever was. Brighter. More stars means more power, more connections to the threads. You could be extraordinary. Or you could be dead in 3 days. How long have you had it? Since birth. My mother said I came out of the womb glowing. Mine too. Morrigan's expression softened, just for a moment. My mother lasted 5 more years before they caught her. I watched them burn her. I was 8. Silence. Shared weight. And your magic? Morrigan asked. Healing mostly. Sometimes I can see the threads, the connections between living things. I pull on them, redirect energy, stop bleeding, close wounds. Sera's jaw tightened. I saved that child. She was dying. Noble. Morrigan's tone suggested nobility was overrated. But insufficient. If someone offered you a way out, a chance to live, would you take it? Even if living meant serving a monster? There are no monsters, just people who've stopped pretending to be anything else. Morrigan smiled. Her teeth were too white, too perfect for someone her age. You'll do. Better than the last one. Last one? The 93rd candidate. Girl named Alara. Sweet thing. Gentle. Thought she could appeal to his humanity. Morrigan's voice went flat. She lasted 9 minutes in the first trial before the curse tore her apart. She was screaming for her mother at the end. The temperature in the cell seemed to drop. Why tell me that? So you know what you're walking into. This isn't a rescue. This is a test with a 99% failure rate. And the king? She leaned closer. He'll watch you die just like he watched her, just like all the others. Won't feel a thing. Can't. That's what makes him so dangerous. Then why are you trying to save me? Because someone has to survive, someone has to prove it's possible, and because... She paused, chose her words carefully. If someone like us can anchor him, can hold that curse, then maybe the rest of us have a future. Maybe we stop hiding. She turned to leave. Wait, Sera gripped the bars. Who are you really? Just Morrigan who serves the Scarlet Throne? I'm Morrigan the Marked, Morrigan the Hidden, Morrigan who's been waiting 63 years for someone strong enough to change things. She paused at the cell door. In 3 days, you'll find out if I lied about the saving part. Try to last longer than 9 minutes. Ilara deserves that much. Then she was gone, leaving Sera alone with questions and the ghost of a girl who died screaming. She didn't crush the hope this time. She let it sit. Uncomfortable. Fragile. That night, Sera dreamed. A throne made from bone, veins pulsing red against yellowed ivory. A man with a face like a blade and eyes that held no light. Empty gold. The color of coins on a dead man's eyes. Fire that burned cold. Darkness that whispered promises. But also another image. Newer. Sharper. A girl with gentle eyes and healing hands, screaming, disintegrating, calling for her mother who couldn't save her. When Sera woke, her mark was burning, actually burning, silver light leaking through her shift, hot enough that she pressed her palm against the stone wall to cool the skin. 3 days until execution. But death might be the easy part. The real question was whether she'd last long enough to matter. Chapter 1. The execution platform was built from oak that had drunk so much blood over the years it looked black in certain light. Sera's would just be another stain. They brought her out at dawn, hands chained behind her back, bare feet on cold stone. The square was packed. Executions drew crowds the way free bread used to, back before the war. Sera had promised herself she'd die with dignity. But standing here, morning wind cutting through her thin shift, watching the magistrate's bored expression and the executioner testing the weight of his axe. Dignity felt like a luxury for people who'd had choices. Sera Ashford, the magistrate read from his scroll. You stand accused and convicted of bearing the mark of the fallen in direct violation of His Majesty's law. You have been found guilty of using forbidden magic within the Empire's borders. The sentence is death. Have you any last words? Sera looked out at the crowd. Most wouldn't meet her eyes. A few looked eager. One woman was crying. Not for Sera, probably. Just crying because executions made people remember their own mortality. In the third row, a child, maybe 7, staring at Sera with wide eyes. The girl's mother tried to cover those eyes, but the child kept looking. That child would remember this, would grow up thinking magic meant death, would learn to hide any spark of power. Sera should stay silent, but she'd never been good at should. Tell your king that killing us won't make him any less of a monster. It'll just mean there's less magic in the world to fight the next plague when it comes. Her voice carried across the square. And it will come, they always do. The magistrate's expression soured. Insolent, executioner. The sky tore open. Reality split down the middle with a sound like 1,000 mirrors breaking at once. The crowd dropped, hands clamped over ears, mouths open in silent screams. The sound resonated in Sera's bones, in her mark, in the space behind her sternum where fear lived. Then silence, and he was there. King Draeven Nightborne stood in the center of the square where nothing had been a heartbeat before. Stories and reality were different animals. He was tall, taller than seemed reasonable, built like violence waiting to happen, dense, like every ounce was necessary and nothing wasted. Dark hair fell past his shoulders, half tied back with a leather cord that had seen better days. His face was all sharp angles and old scars, the most prominent cutting from his left temple to his jaw like someone had tried to peel his face off and given up halfway. But the eyes were worse. Gold, cold gold, metallic, reflective. Eyes that looked at you and saw through to the parts you'd buried deep. Eyes that held no warmth, no recognition, no humanity. He wore black, simple clothes, no crown, no royal regalia, just darkness and scars and emptiness. He walked through the frozen crowd like they were ghosts, each step precise, controlled, a wolf among sheep. Sera's survival instinct screamed at her to run. Her chains reminded her that running wasn't an option. Draven stopped 3 feet from the platform. Up close, the wrongness was clearer. Shadows pooled around his feet, even though the sun was rising. The air around him seemed colder. Every person nearby leaned back unconsciously, bodies recognizing threat. His eyes found the child in the 3rd row, the one who'd been staring. For a moment, something flickered across his face, too fast to read, then nothing. Her crime. His voice was layered wrong, like 2 people speaking in unison but slightly out of sync. State it fully. The magistrate had gone pale. Forbidden magic, Your Majesty. She bears the mark of the fallen, used healing magic on an imperial citizen, refuses to renounce her abilities. Show me the mark! The executioner's hands shook as he unlocked Sera's chains. She rubbed her wrists, then pulled down her collar without being asked. If she was dying today, she'd do it on her terms. The mark gleamed in the dawn light, 7 stars in constellation, connected by lines of liquid silver that seemed to flow beneath her skin. Draven stared at it. Something flickered across his face, too fast to read. Then he laughed. The sound made Sera's stomach drop. It was the laugh of something breaking after holding together too long, the laugh of someone who'd forgotten what joy sounded like and was imitating it from memory. Do you know what you are? His gold eyes fixed on hers. Sera couldn't move, couldn't breathe. A dead woman walking. No. He stepped onto the platform. The wood didn't creak under his weight. Wrong. Everything should creak. You're the first in 7 years. The first what? Bearer who survived past 20. Before Sera could process that, Draven grabbed her wrist. The world exploded. Power slammed into her, through her, a flood of sensations so intense her knees buckled. She would have fallen if Draven hadn't been holding her. Everything. His emptiness. A void where a soul should be. Cold. Vast. Hungry in ways she didn't have words for. And underneath, buried so deep she almost missed it. The ghost of what he used to be. Human. Warm. Capable of feeling. Also her own power. Rising to meet his. The mark flaring hot against her skin. Silver light pouring from her like water from a broken dam. Images flashed. Memories. His memories bleeding through the connection. A girl with gentle eyes, healing hands, screaming, disintegrating. Ilara. Sera gasped. Draven's grip tightened. When the light faded, Sera was on her knees on the platform, breathing hard. Mark still glowing faintly. Her wrist, where he'd grabbed her, had a silver handprint. Fading. But there! Draven looked down at her. For the first time, there was something in his eyes besides emptiness. Surprise. You felt it? Not a question. I saw... Sera's voice cracked. Ilara, the 93rd candidate, she was gentle, kind, insufficient. Draven's voice was flat. She lasted 9 minutes. You felt her death through the connection. Interesting. How can you be so... Sera stopped. What was the point of calling him a monster? He already knew. Recognition. He released her wrist. The absence of his touch was cold water after burning. Your mark called to my curse, deeper than the others. You didn't just touch the surface, you saw inside. The magistrate found his voice. Your Majesty, the law states... I know what the law states. Draven's gaze never left Sera. I wrote it, and I'm invoking an older law now. The right of claim. The crowd stirred, whispers spreading like fire. The magistrate paled further. Your Majesty, that law hasn't been used in over a century. Then it's overdue. Draven addressed the crowd now, his voice carrying easily, inhuman in its clarity. The right of claim states that any member of the royal family may claim a condemned prisoner for personal service. The prisoner's sentence is commuted. Their life becomes the property of the crown. He turned back to Sera. Sera Ashford, I claim you. Your execution is postponed indefinitely. You belong to me now. Sera's mind raced. She'd expected death. Quick, final. She should be relieved. But looking at those cold gold eyes, thinking of Alara screaming, I have conditions. The crowd gasped. The magistrate made a strangled sound. Draven tilted his head, almost amused. You're in no position to make conditions. Then you're in no position to claim me. Her legs shook but held. If you want me to serve you, we do this as equals, or not at all. Silence. Long enough that Sera started to think she had made a fatal mistake. Then Draven smiled, terrifying, like watching a corpse remember how. You have spine. Good. Alara was too gentle, broke too easily. He gestured. Speak your conditions. First, I get to choose whether I stay. If serving you is worse than death, you let me walk away. Agreed, though you won't choose that. Second, you tell me why. Why claim me specifically? Draven considered this. Fair. I'll answer when we're somewhere more private. Third condition. The child I healed. Tell me she's all right, and the child in the third row, the one watching. Promise me she won't be punished for being here, for seeing this. Something shifted in Draven's expression. So brief, Sera almost missed it. He glanced at the child in the crowd, the little girl who'd been staring. The child you healed recovered fully. She's with her mother in the lower district, unharmed. His voice was quieter. And the girl in the third row will be untouched. No harm will come to her for witnessing this. You have my word. Relief flooded through Sera. Then I accept your claim. The crowd erupted, some shocked, some angry, a few cheering, though Sera couldn't imagine why. Draven raised a hand. Silence fell immediately. The prisoners claimed, the execution's void. Anyone who objects can take it up with me personally. No one objected. He turned and walked towards the center of the square. Paused, looked back at Sera. Well, are you coming? Or would you prefer to wait here while the crowd decides whether to celebrate or riot? Sera looked at the platform, at the axe, at what should have been her death. Then at the child in the third row, still staring, eyes wide. Learning. Sera walked toward the monster king. Behind them, the magistrate was reading new proclamations, something about the marked, about trials. But Sera wasn't listening. She was too busy trying not to show fear as reality folded around her and Draven, the square vanishing, replaced by a massive stone hall lit by purple fire that gave no heat. They were somewhere else, somewhere that smelled like ash and old blood and something else. Something that might have been despair, if despair had a scent. Draven turned to face her fully. Welcome to the Scarlet Throne, your new home. Possibly your grave. We'll see which. Sera lifted her chin. You promised me answers. Why claim me? Those gold eyes studied her. Empty, hungry, curious. I want you to kill me, but before you can do that, you're going to help me remember how to be human. He stepped closer. 4 trials, 30 days. If you succeed, I might let you try. Try what? Saving me or ending me. His smile was terrible. Whichever proves necessary. Either way, you'll do better than Alara. You're already angry. Anger lasts longer than gentleness. He was right. Sera was angry. At him. At the system. At the fact that a gentle girl had died screaming while a king watched and felt nothing. Good. She'd use it. Chapter 2. The throne room was built from bones. Actual bones, thousands of them. Woven together into pillars and archways. Femurs and ribs forming the walls. Skulls watching from alcoves with empty sockets. The throne itself looked grown rather than built. A massive structure of vertebrae and long bones. All of it veined with something red and pulsing. The purple fire that lit everything gave no warmth, just light, cold light that made shadows move wrong. Sera stood in the center of the room, trying not to show how much this place unnerved her, trying not to think about whose bones these were. Draven sat on his throne, relaxed like this was normal. You have questions. Several hundred. Let's start with what the hell this place is. The space between the Shadow Realm, what's left of the world after the plague almost ate it 7 years ago. Draven gestured around them. I keep it here, locked away, contained. If I die wrong, if the curse completes, this all breaks loose. Returns to your world. Finishes what it started. Cold crept up Sera's spine. The shadow plague? That was this? The plague was the symptom. This is the disease. He leaned forward. 7 years ago, reality was dying. Something from outside was eating through. I made a deal to stop it. Gave up my humanity. Became something that could hold the breach closed. And I'm dying. Slowly. The curse is completing. When it does, I won't just be the Hollow King anymore. I'll be the thing I traded myself to fight. His gold eyes held hers. And if that happens, everyone dies. The Empire, the continent, eventually the world. Sera's throat was dry. You think I can stop it? I think you're the first bearer strong enough to try. Your mark is deeper than the others. 7 stars instead of 3 or 4. More connections to the threads. More power. Draven stood, walked toward her. Every other mark bearer I've tested died within minutes of touching my curse. You lasted 30 seconds, saw inside, felt Alara's death. How many? Does the number matter? Yes. Silence. Long enough that Sera thought he wouldn't answer. 93, over 7 years. Most lasted under 5 minutes. A few made it to 10. Alara lasted 9. Longest was a man named Caney, 47 minutes. He almost made it to the end of the first trial, then his heart exploded from the strain. Sera processed this. You've killed 93 people testing for a solution. Yes, I didn't want them to die, but I had to know, had to find someone who could withstand the curse long enough to break it. She stopped, searched for the right word, found none. Monstrous. I know, I've been told. Draven's voice was flat. I would have tested 1,000, 10,000, because if I fail, billions die. The math is simple, unpleasant, but simple. You killed your own capacity for guilt, for mercy. I utilized it to hold this curse, to not break under the weight. He turned away. But the curse is completing. Soon, I won't have a choice about being a monster. Right now, I'm in control. Still choosing my actions. When it finishes, I'll just be hunger. Just destruction. No thoughts, no will. How long? Weeks, maybe a month. The 4 trials. Sera's hands were shaking. She made them stop. What are they? Tests of your power, your will, your ability to touch my curse and survive. He faced her again. Each trial will push you closer to death. Each one will show me if you're strong enough for the final task, which is becoming my anchor, the thing that tethers me to humanity. His voice was clinical. If you succeed, you'll forge a permanent bond between your mark and my curse. Use your power to contain mine, keep me human. And if I fail, the curse completes. I kill you, then everyone else. Sera laughed. Couldn't help it. The sound came out slightly hysterical. So my choices are death by trial, death by curse, or a lifetime leash to the Hollow King. Fantastic options. There is a 4th choice, which is? Draven pulled a knife from somewhere, offered it handle first. The blade was strange, dark metal that seemed to drink light. You kill me now, before the curse completes. I die, it dies. The Shadow Realm collapses. Problem solved. Sera stared at the knife. At him. You're serious? Completely. Your mark is strong enough that you might actually be able to kill me. Most weapons just bounce off. This one won't. It's made from bone taken from the Shadow Realm. It can cut what shouldn't be cut. He pressed the knife into her hand. If you think I'm too far gone, if the risk of trying to save me is worse than just ending this, then do it. I won't stop you. The knife was heavy. The blade was warm. Wrong temperature for metal. Sera held it, tested its weight. She could do it. Probably. He was fast, but he'd said he wouldn't stop her. She could end this. Save herself. Save everyone else from the risk of her failure. Simple, but she thought of Alara. Gentle, kind, dead after 9 minutes. She thought of the other 92, all dead testing against this curse. She thought of the child in the 3rd row, learning that magic meant death. You could save yourself. Find someone, anyone, force them into the bond. Why give me a choice? For the first time, something flickered in those empty gold eyes. Brief. If I've fallen so far that I'd enslave someone to save myself, then I'm already lost. He paused. And if I'm going to spend the rest of whatever life I have bound to someone, I want it to be someone who chose it, not someone I broke into compliance. That's remarkably principled for someone who's killed 93 people testing them. I never claimed to be consistent, just honest. Sera held the knife. Looked at him. Really looked. Trying to see past the monster to whatever was underneath. Then she handed the knife back. I won't kill you, not yet. Why not? You're still choosing. Still in control. Sera met his eyes. The monster I kill needs to deserve it. You're not there yet. So we try your way. 4 trials. We see if I can anchor you. She took the knife back, tucked it into your belt. If I can't, then I'll do what's necessary. I promise you that. If you become what you're afraid of, I'll end you myself. Clean, quick, before you can hurt anyone else. That's more mercy than I deserve. Probably, but Alara deserved better than 9 minutes of agony. So I'm going to try to make this mean something. Draven studied her, long enough that Sera wondered if she'd made a mistake. Then he smiled, that terrifying corpse smile. But this time there was something in his eyes, something that might have been respect. You're either very brave or very stupid. Usually both. Sera gestured around the throne room. When's the first trial? Tomorrow at dawn, which gives us tonight to prepare. He gestured toward a door she hadn't noticed before. Your rooms are through there. Food, clothes, anything you need. Eat, sleep if you can. Most candidates don't last 10 minutes. What's the record? 47 minutes, Caney, he was a soldier, strong, disciplined. His heart couldn't take the strain. Draeven's voice was flat. Try to beat it for Alara, if not for yourself. I will. Sera headed for the door. Paused. One more question. The child I healed, what's her name? Why does that matter? Because she's a person, not just the child. She has a name, a life, a future, and you made sure she's safe. Sera looked back at him. So what's her name? Draeven was quiet for a long moment. Lyra. Her name is Lyra. She's 7. She likes to draw pictures of birds. Her mother says she talks about you constantly, calls you the Silver Lady. And the girl from the execution, the one in the 3rd row. I don't know her name, but I'll make sure no harm comes to her. I gave you my word. Sera nodded. Left the throne room. She found her rooms. They were surprisingly comfortable. Normal, even. A large bed, a bathroom with actual hot water, clothes in her size, food on a table, fresh bread, cheese, wine. Sera ate mechanically, her mind racing. 4 trials, starting tomorrow. 93 people dead. Alara, lasting 9 minutes. Caney's heart exploding at 47. She should be terrified. She was terrified, but she was also angry, and determination, and stubborn. Alara deserved better. They all did. Sera would beat that record. She'd survive. She'd anchor this curse. And if she couldn't, she'd make sure Draeven died clean, quick, before he became the thing that ended the world. Either way, she'd make it mean something. She looked at the mark on her collarbone. 7 stars, connected by silver. All right, she whispered to it, to herself, to Alara's ghost. Let's see what we're made of. When she slept, she dreamed of gentle hands and healing light and screaming that never stopped. She woke at dawn, ready to fight. Chapter 3. The first trial took place in what Draeven called the arena. Sera called it a nightmare. Circular pit, maybe 100 feet across. The walls were the same woven bone as the throne room, but the floor was different. Obsidian, maybe, or solidified darkness. It reflected nothing. Light hit it and died. Purple fire burned in circles around the pit's edge, still giving no heat. Draeven stood at the pit's rim, waiting. He wasn't alone. 2 men stood with him. Brothers, obviously. Same height, similar builds, but different in every other way. The first was all control and cold angles. Silver hair pulled back severely. Gray eyes that assessed Sera like a threat. Formal military dress, every piece perfect. He radiated discipline like heat. The second was warmth and casual strength. Dark skin, darker hair falling loose around his shoulders. Easy smile, comfortable clothes worn from use. He radiated safety like the first radiated control. My brothers, Draeven said without ceremony. Theron and Quail. They're here to observe. In case you die quickly, they'll need to handle the aftermath. Cheerful, Sera said. The warm one, Quail, grinned. I like her already. She's got humor. Last one just cried. Kyle, the cold one, Theron said. His voice was clipped. Show some respect for the dead. I'm showing respect for the living. She's about to face the same test. Least we can do is not make her more terrified than she already is. I'm terrified enough without help, Sera said. But thanks. She approached the pit. The brothers watched. Theron's assessment was clinical, calculating her odds. Kyle's was curious, hopeful maybe. The first trial, Draeven said, is endurance. I'm going to channel my curse through you. You're going to survive it. Or not. Just stand there and take it? Just? He descended into the pit. The curse is death. Entropy given form. It wants to unmake things, Reduce them to component parts. You're going to let it touch you and not fall apart. Sera followed him down. The obsidian floor was warm under her feet. Wrong temperature. She stood in the center. Draven circled her slowly. You felt it yesterday, during the claiming. That was nothing. A taste. Today you're going to feel the real thing. He stopped in front of her. It will hurt. You will want to die. Every instinct will scream at you to break the connection. Don't. If you break it too early, the curse will finish what it started. Badly. How badly? Alara's bones turned to powder while she was still alive. Sera's stomach dropped. I'm going to start slow, let you acclimate. But it will intensify. Fast. Find a way to ground yourself. Find your anchor. Use your mark. Use your magic. Just hold on for 1 hour. Caney lasted 47 minutes. Yes, try to beat it. He would have wanted that. Something in Draven's voice made Sera look at him closer. You knew him. Caney. He wasn't just a candidate. Silence. Long enough to be an answer. He was a friend, Theron said from above. His voice was tight. Before the curse, before Draven became this, Caney was his captain, his sparring partner. When the curse started completing, Caney volunteered, said if anyone could save Draven, he'd be honored to try. And Draven tested him anyway, Sera said. I did. Draven's voice was flat. Because the world mattered more than one friendship. The math was simple. The math is always simple when you can't feel anything, Theron said, ice in his voice. Yes, it is. Draven turned back to Sera. Caney lasted longer than anyone because he knew me, knew how to anticipate my power. It still wasn't enough. Ready? No, but I'm doing it anyway. Good. His palm moved to her forehead. For Kane, for Alara, for all of them. Try. Begin. The curse hit her like an avalanche made of knives. Pain exploded through every nerve. Sera's vision went white, then red, then colors that didn't have names. The mark flared. Hot. Defensive. But the curse poured through it, into it. A flood of ending and entropy and hunger. Her knees buckled. She hit the obsidian floor hard, dying. The actual experience? Cells beginning to separate. Bonds breaking at molecular level. Her magic thrashing, trying to heal. But healing required energy, and the curse was draining everything. Sera screamed. Focus! Draven's voice cut through the agony. Find your anchor! What anchor? But even thinking that, Sera's mind caught on something. The threads, her magic, the thing that let her see connections. If everything was connected, then breaking those connections should show her where they were. Sera forced her eyes open. Through the pain, she could see them. Silver threads, everywhere, connecting her cells to each other, her magic to her mark to the curse eating through her. The curse was severing threads, cutting connections, isolating everything. But Sera was a healer. She reached for the threads with her magic, not fighting the curse, just reweaving what it cut, reconnecting what it separated. It hurt. Gods, it hurt. Every thread she rewove felt like pulling broken bones back into place, but it was working. Good! Draven's voice again, closer. Keep going. You're at 6 minutes. 6 minutes. 3 minutes less than Alara lasted. Sera held. The threads, the connections, refusing to break. The curse intensified. Weight, pressure, 1,000 pounds pushing down. The obsidian floor cracked under her. She was pressed flat, face against stone. 7 minutes. 8. 9. Sera tasted blood. Her mark was glowing so bright it hurt to look at. 10 minutes. Alara's death time. Sera pushed past it. For the gentle girl who'd wanted to help. For the 92 others who'd died trying. 15 minutes. 20. The curse changed. Got colder. more hungry. It wasn't just cutting threads anymore, it was eating them, consuming the connections before Sera could reweave them. She adjusted, started weaving faster, reinforcing threads before the curse could reach them. 25 minutes. "You're going to make it," Kyle said from above. His voice held wonder. "She's actually going to make it." 30 minutes. The curse started whispering. Promises of rest, of peace, of ending the pain. Just let go. Just stop fighting. Sera told it to fuck off. Use the profanity as anchor. 35 minutes. Her vision was fading, going dark at the edges. Not death, just exhaustion. 40 minutes. She could see why Kaney's heart had exploded. The curse reached a critical mass around this point, weight becoming unbearable, cold becoming absolute. 45 minutes. Sera's threads were fraying. She couldn't reweave fast enough. Pieces of her were starting to drift. 47 minutes. Kaney's death time. Sera felt it like a milestone. The friend who'd tried to save Draven, who'd died with the end in sight. Kaney would be proud, Theron said quietly. "Keep going." Sera did. 50 minutes. The curse was screaming now, frustrated, hungry. It wanted her to break. Sera kept refusing. 55 minutes, 5 more, just 5. The curse made one last attempt, poured everything into her. Weight, cold, hunger. Sera met it with everything she had left. Threads blazing silver, magic burning white hot. They crashed together. For a moment, Sera thought they'd kill each other. Then something gave. Not her. The curse. It recoiled. 1 hour. The curse vanished, cut off instantly. Sera collapsed onto the obsidian floor, gasping, shaking, alive. Draven knelt beside her. For once his expression wasn't empty, shocked, and something else, something that might have been grief. "You survived." "Record," Sera managed. 13 minutes past Kaney, longer than anyone. "Good." Sera closed her eyes. "Tell Kaney I beat him. Tell Alara I tried." "I will. Wait, before you do. Look." Sera forced her eyes open. Draven was staring at his hand, the one that had channeled the curse. There was silver on it, threads of silver light, weaving through his fingers, thin, fragile, but there. "Your magic, in my curse. You didn't just survive it, you marked it, changed it." He looked at her, wonder in his eyes. "You might actually be able to do this." From above, Kale whooped. Actually whooped. "She made it! First time in 7 years! We should celebrate!" "She nearly died," Theron said. But his voice had softened, just slightly. "Nearly, but didn't. That's worth celebrating." Sera let consciousness leave. When she woke, she was in her bed, clean, bandaged, still alive. Draven was sitting in a chair by the window, watching her. "How long was I out?" 2 days. Your body needed to recover. The curse takes a toll." 2 days. Sera tried to sit up. Managed, barely. 3 more trials. When? Not for at least a week. You need to heal first." "I thought time was limited. Weeks, maybe a month." "It is, but if I push you too hard, you'll die. Then I'll have no anchor and the curse completes anyway." He stood, walked to her bedside. "Sera, you did something no one else has done. You survived the first trial, beat the record by 13 minutes. You've earned rest." "Did you tell them? Kaney and Alara?" "I did, last night. I went to their graves, told them you succeeded where they fell." His voice was quiet. Kaney was buried with honors in the military cemetery. Alara is in the public garden. She loved flowers. You remember that she loved flowers. I remember all of them. Every candidate, every test, every death. Draven looked at his hands. The silver threads were gone, but Sera could still see them, faint, woven through his curse. I can't feel guilt for what I did, but I can remember I owe them that much. Sera studied him, the Hollow King, the monster who remembered his victims. Maybe there was hope after all. Rest, Draven said. Heal. We have 3 more trials, and you need to survive all of them. I will. For them. For all 93. Good. He left, closing the door quietly behind him. Sera lay back, exhausted, aching, alive. Outside, the shadow realm pressed against reality. Waiting? Hungry? Inside, Sera held threads of silver light in her mark. Connection where there had been none. 3 more trials. She'd survive them. She had to. Too many people were counting on her. The living and the dead. Chapter 4. Sera spent a week recovering. During that week, she learned things about the Hollow King that the stories never told. He read, constantly, philosophy mostly, ethics, treatises on morality and justice, books about what made people human. Trying to remember, he explained once, what it felt like to care about these things. He trained with Kyle every morning, sparring, hand-to-hand combat. Kyle was good, Draven was better, but Kyle never held back. He needs the challenge, Kyle told Sera one afternoon. Needs to remember what it's like to face an equal. I'm not his equal, but I try. He met with petitioners, people from the Empire with grievances, requests, problems. He listened to each one, made decisions based on logic and law, never emotion, because he couldn't, but he was fair. Sera watched, learned, saw the man beneath the monster. It made what came next harder. On the 8th day, Sera found him in his study, reading reports, always reading. I'm ready, she said. For the second trial, he looked up, studied her. Your body is healed, but the second trial isn't about physical endurance, it's about control. What does that mean? It means you're going to take my power into yourself, voluntarily, and you're going to shape it, use it, without letting it consume you. He set down his papers. The first trial was defense. This is offense, harder, deadlier. When? Tonight, after dark. The second trial requires specific conditions. What conditions? You'll see. That night Sera followed Draven to a different part of the Shadow Realm, not the arena, somewhere else. A chamber carved from black stone, empty except for a circle of purple fire in the center. Kale and Theron were already there, waiting. Witnesses, Draven explained. In case it goes wrong, they'll need to handle things. By handle things, you mean kill us both. Yes? Cheerful? Kale grinned, despite the tension. See? She gets me. Focus, Theron said. His gray eyes were worried. This trial has killed more candidates than the first. 5 survived the first trial before Sera. All 5 died in the second. What killed them? The curse rebelled, consumed them from inside, turned them into shadow creatures. Theron's voice was flat. We had to mercy kill all of them. It was not pleasant. It won't happen to her, Draven said. She marked the curse, changed it. There is a connection there that the others never achieved. You hope? Theron said. I hope. Draven turned to Sera. Stand in the center, in the circle of fire. Sera did. The purple flames didn't burn, but they felt wrong, like standing in the space between heartbeats. I'm going to give you a portion of curse energy, small, controlled. You're going to take it, shape it, form it into something, anything. Just prove you can control it without it controlling you. And if I can't, then the curse will consume you, transform you, and Theron will mercy kill you before you become a shadow creature. Clean, quick, I promise you that much. How reassuring. Draven almost smiled. Almost. Ready? No, but I'm doing it anyway. He held out his hand. The curse coiled beneath his skin, visible, writhing, hungry. Sera took his hand. The curse poured into her. Different this time. Not attacking. Just filling. Like water seeking level. It flooded her veins, her magic, her mark, looking for somewhere to go, something to become. Sera tried to shape it, to form it into something controlled. The curse didn't want shape. It wanted formlessness, wanted to dissolve everything into nothing. She pushed harder, used her magic to contain it. The curse pushed back. Not aggressive, just resistant. Different approach. Instead of forcing shape onto the curse, Sera offered it structure, showed it patterns in her magic, threads, connections, ways to exist that weren't just hunger and ending. The curse considered. It had something like instinct, recognition. Slowly, the curse began to follow her suggestions, weaving along her threads, taking form around her connections. Sera guided it, gentle, patient, not controlling so much as directing, showing it possibilities. The curse formed into light, cold light, purple silver. It wrapped around her hand, waiting. Good, Draven said. His voice was strained, as if watching this was painful. Now shape it further, make it into a tool, a weapon, something useful, Sera thought. What could entropy become besides ending? Healing wasn't just putting things together. Sometimes it was knowing what to take apart, what to release, what to let go. She shaped the curse light into a blade, not sharp, not for cutting, but for separating, for breaking bonds cleanly, for transformation that didn't destroy, just changed. The blade hummed in her hand, unstable, but present. Interesting, Theron said. That's not what the others tried. What did they try? Destruction. Weapons meant to kill. The curse resonated with that. Consumed them. You made something else. Sera looked at the blade. It was beautiful in a terrible way. Purple and silver light woven together. Entropy and healing. Ending and transformation. Can I try something? She asked. Try what? Draven was watching her intently. Using it. Actually using it. He gestured to the chamber walls. There, strike the stone. Sera approached the wall. The blade felt wrong in her hand, too cold, too hungry. But she maintained control, kept it shaped, kept it focused. She struck the stone. The blade passed through without resistance. The stone didn't break, didn't shatter. It just stopped being stone, became dust, dissolved cleanly, no violence, just transformation. That's new, Kyle said. That's really new. Sera let the blade dissipate. The curse flowed back to Draven, reluctant, as if it had enjoyed being shaped, being useful. Did I pass? She asked. Yes. Draven's voice was quiet. You shouldn't have. The curse should have rebelled, should have tried to consume you, but it didn't. It listened. It obeyed. Why? Because you didn't try to dominate it. You persuaded it, showed it ways to exist, beyond destruction. He looked at his hands. The silver threads were brighter now, more visible. You're teaching the curse to be something else, something it's never been before. Is that good? I don't know, but it's unprecedented. From the shadows, a voice, old, familiar. She's doing more than teaching it. She's befriending it. Morgan stepped into the light. She looked older, tired, but her eyes were sharp. How long have you been here? Draven asked. Long enough. Long enough to see what she's doing. Morgan looked at Sera. You're not fighting the curse. You're not even just controlling it. You're showing it alternatives, possibilities. You're treating it like it has agency. Does it? Sera asked. No, The curse is a force, like gravity, like entropy. It doesn't think, doesn't choose. Morrigan paused. But it's starting to, because of you. You're giving it the capacity to choose. That's dangerous. But it's also the only way this works. Third trial, Draven said. When? Morrigan looked at him. Something passed between them. Understanding. History. 5 days. Give her 5 days. The third trial is the worst one. She needs to be ready. What is the third trial? Sera asked. No one answered. Tell me, Draven finally spoke. You live my memories, experience everything I've done, everyone I've killed, every choice I've made, and then you decide if I'm worth saving or if you should take that knife and end this. Cold flooded through Sera. You're going to show me everything. Everything, the 93 candidates, Caney, Ilara, the villages I burned, the people I killed, the choices I made. His voice was flat. And you'll feel what I felt. Nothing. Just emptiness and calculation. You'll experience being hollow, being a monster, being me. And then what? Then you choose. Anchor me or end me. Sera looked at the knife at her belt. The one Draven had given her, made from Shadow Realm bone. What if I can't make that choice? Then the curse completes, and everyone dies anyway. Draven met her eyes. 5 days. Use them well. After the third trial, everything changes. Morrigan approached Sera, pulled her aside while the brothers and Draven talked quietly. I need to tell you something, Morrigan said. Her voice was low. About the third trial. About what you're going to see. Tell me. You're going to see Draven before he was hollow. You're going to see the man he was. The king who loved his people. The brother who laughed with Kale and argued with Theron. The friend who sparred with Caney. Morrigan's voice was soft. And then you're going to watch that man die. You're going to experience him trading himself, piece by piece, until there's nothing left but emptiness. Why are you telling me this? Because you need to know. When you're in there, when you're experiencing his memories, when you're living as him. She gripped Sera's hand. Remember that he made a choice. He chose to become a monster so others wouldn't have to. That doesn't excuse what he's done, but it explains it. You care about him. I've known him for 63 years, since before the curse, since before the laws against the marked. Morrigan's eyes were wet. He was a good man once, a great king, and he sacrificed himself to save us all, even people like me, people he had every reason to hate. Why would he have reason to hate you? Because I'm marked. Because people like me were blamed for the plague. Because if he'd wanted to, he could have killed us all and no one would have stopped him. She looked at Draven, across the chamber. But he didn't. He chose to save everyone, even the people who feared him, even the people who hated him, even the people who called him monster. Sera followed her gaze, saw Draven talking quietly with his brothers, saw the way Theron stood, protective, grieving, saw the way Kyle touched Draven's shoulder, gentle, hopeful. They remembered, too, the man he'd been. 5 days, Morrigan said. Use them to prepare, because the third trial will break you. It breaks everyone. The question is whether you can put yourself back together afterward. Did it break you when you saw his memories? I haven't taken the trials. I'm too old, too weak. I wouldn't survive the first trial. Morrigan pulled back her collar, showed her mark, 3 stars, faint, barely glowing. I'm not strong enough to save him, but you are. You have to be. What if I'm not? Then we all die, and 63 years of hiding will have been for nothing. Morrigan left, disappearing into shadows like she'd never been there. Sera stood alone in the circle of purple fire. the second trial complete, the third looming. 5 days to prepare for the breaking. 5 days to decide if a monster was worth saving. 5 days to learn what it felt like to be hollow. She touched the mark on her collarbone. 7 stars, bright, connected. "All right," she whispered. 3 more days until the worst thing I've ever done